What's going on, everybody? I want a few more people to join. I want to get started. I want to talk a little blunt force logic on Sunday. It's been a couple days since I did this. We've got a really big show coming up on Truth Will Set You Free on Tuesday night. We've got four opposing opinions to our belief system that you typically see on Truth Will Set You Free. But right now, this is important. This is a message passed on to me from Cashley Kelly out in DC and what's going on. And I'll soon be speaking with hopefully a lot of the other protesters that are locked up. And it's not just the protesters locked up in that facility that are being treated the way they are. And it's not a mistreatment. It's unfortunately based on the way that DC is handling their lockdowns in prison. So if you could, I'm going to break this down in 10, 15 minutes. Share this out there. It's important if you can. Tag Fox News, tag The Blaze, tag Epoch Times, tag them all, because somehow the media needs to know what's going on so somebody can help what's up in DC. So hey, everybody that's coming on, thank you guys for joining. Again, share this out. Let's get this going. Blunt force logic. The whole purpose of this, guys, is for maybe provide a little bit of logic of what's going on in this absolute crazy world. And sometimes I'm not going to mince words, and that's why it's blunt force. With that said, as I always say, not always going to be on BetheChange Network. So if you can, please make sure you follow Anthony Michael Russo. It'll be on there. And soon, the Ops Lens, it will be up on there. We're just setting a start date for me to have this show 1 or 2 times a week, where we really take 45 minutes and break down all the bullshit that's going on in the world and how we can logically break it down and hopefully create a little bit of knowledge logically to people that are listening. So what's going on in DC? I talked to Cash. We've got veterans. We've got older people. We've got people that have never broken the law a day in their life until they went into the Capitol. These aren't the ones that not the ones that hurt the police officers. These are not the ones that broke property. These are the people that entered the building, quote unquote, unlawfully. And they are currently being held in DC's COVID prison lockdown system, which means you get 23 hours on lockdown in your cell, which is worse than anywhere else in the country in terms of jails. 1 hour out. In that 1 hour, you get to do use the microwave if possible. You get to make a family phone call if possible and shower, all in that 1 hour. So this has been going on for over a month now with these people that are not violent offenders. They've literally are just waiting for their trial. They're the ones that can't afford to bond out. You've got veterans that are over 60 years old. You've got people that are family men or women that literally were there to voice their First Amendment rights. These are not people that did damage, and these are not any of those. These people are stuck in a prison or a jail system that's broken, and they're unable to get out. Yet they're starting, and the worst part is they're seeing the news on what's going across the country. And tell me this isn't hypocrisy, that you've got people that have burnt down buildings, and federal buildings at that, in Portland. They've seen this on the news, which is messing with their psyche. Cash just told me that there are people that are becoming suicidal in that facility that have never committed a crime a day in their life until this. Because they're seeing what's going on in the country, and they're like, what did we do that's so bad when you've got Portland burning down, when you've got people trying to kill ICE officers in a building, and they're being made an example of for months on end for going in the Capitol on what is deemed this quote unquote insurrection, which, if that's what you believe on the left, then tell me what happened in Oklahoma. What happened at the Capitol of Oklahoma during their lawmaking process this last week? People came in during session from Black Lives Matter. They yelled. They voiced their opinion. They swore. They didn't end the session. They didn't make a big deal of it. They gently escorted them out, never arresting anyone. Again, I'm a believer in First Amendment rights, and that our state offices, legislature, these are our houses. So I actually have no problem with that. But how is that allowed when we've got people that have never committed crimes being stuck in a facility in DC where they are locked in a room for 23 hours a day? It's inhumane and it's criminal, which is why it is important. And I ask you guys to share this video. I'm going to talk about a couple other things, but this is what's important. This is what I want the news and media to see. I want the ability to go on. I want the ability to speak on their behalf. Cash has shared my email with them, and they're going to find a way that I can communicate with them through the app that a lot of you guys communicate with Cash with. and hopefully get their stories out there and hopefully let people realize that what is going on is absolutely criminal. They're making an example of conservative Americans. They're making an example of people like Cash. Cash, again, he's in there no matter what. He's fine because he's got the other charge, or he's got the other conviction that he's dealing with, or the other sentence, I should say. But he is telling me what's going on in there because he cares about these people that he is daily trying to pick up and say, we'll get through this. And now he's putting the faith in me and the faith in you to please get this message to whomever you can. If you know people at Fox and Friends, Epoch Times, and a lot of people are saying, the Newsmaxes and the and Newsmax would be bad. I'd avoid OAN. I just want legitimate news sources that are conservative that might be able to get help. You've got people that don't even have to sit with bail in Portland when they've burnt down a building, because there is nonprofit organizations that will step up for people creating violence with criminal behavior and burning buildings down. It's mind-boggling. And it's also messing with the psyche of the people in there. And it's not just the Capitol protesters. There's people of all offenses in there that are just on the strictest COVID lockdowns in the country. With that said, that part is done. When we're talking about these COVID lockdowns, that we're believing in the science. I was at a rodeo last night in middle of nowhere, Texas, with 2,000 people without masks on and a bunch of kids playing, in the middle of the dirt and running it like hundreds of them, making me realize that maybe the world isn't as crazy as I thought. These people are not living in fear. Why are they not living in fear? Is because the science has continuously been proven wrong, just like how it has been over time with climate change. Climate change is whatever. I think there's an issue, but not what we think of. Technically, as conservatives, they talk about us being a part of conspiracy theories in a lot of ways. Yet really the ultimate conspiracy theory over the last 20 years was Al Gore's video that literally at the time won awards, Nobel Peace Prizes, whatever, and none of it has come true. It should have already happened. That's a conspiracy theory that he based in science. Science is based on whoever is, in this day and age, science is based on whoever is paid the most to create the narrative that we see. It's absurd. Now Fauci has just come out saying we're probably going to hear that you're going to have to wear masks in public. Shut the up. There is no science that proves this, except for his next sentence, which was, until we get more people with the vaccine. If they continue to push this, if they continue to push everything based off of this VAX or whatever the hell you want to call it, this mRNA inhibitor switch changing of our body chemistry and makeup, great. They're going to keep pushing this. Meanwhile, making us wear masks, making kids not go to in-school learning, making all these things happen. The science has been continuously proven wrong. There was an article by everybody's favorite liberal media, CNBC, MSM, whatever the hell it was, came out last week saying new science is saying that 6 to 60 feet indoors, it's really not clear if social distancing works. We're a year into this quote-unquote pandemic. A year. And you're going to tell me now, you're saying maybe that 6 feet thing was bullshit. Cool, I believe that. But at the same time, if that's your science, then I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to listen to it. I'm done listening to it, as should you. Watching what I saw in Texas yesterday was one of the most amazingly positive experiences I've had in a long time. I had faith in this country again. It was a bunch of people getting together, seeing each other's faces, and being outdoors for the most part, and doing something as a group, having fun, building our mental strength, allowing people to not feel suicidal, having kids play when I looked at that, I see 400, 300 kids in the middle of of ground, dirt, playing and having a good time. And there's kids in this country that can't even go to school and sit 18 feet away from each other. It shows you how disconnected we are with our freedoms in this country. It's absolutely berserk. So with that, there's other things. You got the Facebook line of, look at all these celebrities that got the vax. It's great. Look at them. You got Patrick Mahomes, who actually, I couldn't believe they posted it, but except for the fact it's Patrick Mahomes, he said, it's everybody's choice, but I got mine. Cool. Then he explains why he got mine and why I don't understand who is telling these people things. He got it to protect his newborn child. He said, I got it. I know I'm an athlete. I'm in great shape. I got to protect my newborn child, which, based on every statistic, science, reasoning known to mankind, the least amount of risk is in that age group from 0 to 13 years old. And he got it for his child. Who is feeding this information to people? Who is telling? This is an intelligent athlete that can talk to any scientist he wants in the world, and he's thinking that he's protecting his child by getting the vaccine. I don't understand. I don't understand how people don't see that this is absurd, and nobody's following science. Nobody's following information. I don't get it. And the last thing, because this is going to be the big thing that we're going to talk about on Tuesday on Truth Will Set You Free, what's going on with the media portraying everything is racism. Everything is racism is mind-boggling. I just saw an article by CNN talking about this image of Derek Chauvin, the long-lasting image. The last image we have of Derek Chauvin is this photo while he was kneeling on George Floyd's neck. And when they talk about it, they be sure in this line, the image of a white police officer that does not care about killing a black man. The coldness in his eyes, knowing that he's killing someone. First off, I think Derek Chauvin's an asshole. I think he's a shitty cop. Why doesn't it say shitty cop? This is the last image of a shitty cop. It has to say white police officer stoking the flames of racial hate in this country, thinking that he didn't kill Chauvin. First off, I can't imagine anybody being able to prove that he killed him on purpose. That's not what he was found guilty for. That's not it. There was negligent homicide. This was not a premeditated, white cop wants to kill a black man. That is not what happened, period. So you can't put words and thoughts into somebody's head. And this lasting image, it was a freeze frame. It was a fucking freeze frame of an image when he was looking at the crowd yelling at him when he was on top of George Floyd. This wasn't his cold eyes thinking how he was taking pleasure in taking a black man's life. Shut the fuck up. Come on, media. The media is continuing to tear us apart from the racial standpoint. I have these conversations and people say, Anthony, you don't understand. A lot of black people come to me. You don't understand black history, man. You don't know about the Tulsa riots. You don't understand about Juneteenth and all these different. I have known about these because of my research longer than most American black people have. I've been researching them for a long time. That doesn't do anything to create change today. Understanding it happened, but blaming that on a police officer killing a black person that's resisting arrest has nothing to do with each other. What it's got to do with is legitimately making sure we don't make the same mistake. Somebody sent me an example of somebody from the 12th century saying this is why black people are disenfranchised. From the 12th century. You have to be kidding me. From the 12th century. You've got GoFundMes. If our country is so racist, you've got GoFundMes for the Jacob Blakes in this world that legitimately resisted arrest hard, has a criminal history of digitally raping somebody with his hands, yet he raised millions of dollars and nobody's getting any flack for it. Yet you have a police officer that is fired because he donated $25 to Kyle Rittenhouse that killed somebody that had a weapon against him. Like, what world are we living in? I've talked to good friends of mine, and I hopefully that I'm getting through to some of them to keep bringing up black history. And I'm like, I know black history sucked. Let's focus on the future. And I look at these friends of mine that are African-American, that are black, that are traveling the world, that have had great jobs, amazing, all this different opportunity that they have overcome through, and they've done these amazing things. And then they're posting about how terrible it is to be a black person in America. How about take the experiences that made you and successful, understand the systemic issues, but take the positives and teach other young black men and women to do what you did. Because you did it. You've got more opportunities than some poor white people. It's not about race. The media has made it about race. And continuously to talk about black history is destructive. That's all I've got for you guys today. Blunt force, logic, do something to make the world a better place. Share this. Let people know. Tag the media because, again, what's going on in DC is criminal. Be the change you wish to see in the world and start thinking logically again.